Wangaratta, we have this new innovation hub, and inside the innovation hub we have a bunch of 3D printers, laser cutters, t-shirt printers, vacuum forming machines, and lots of really cool tech. But unfortunately you have to be doing a course at our TAFE to be able to use that room, and we wanted to change that. We wanted to open it up to the public.
The problem was the way the provisioning orders were managed, because they were done entirely manually. There was no consistent process that could be applied to all orders, and each order was handled differently depending on its type, and also each employee managed it differently. There are also some of the orders required different steps to be completed by different employees. So for example, an employee A asked an employee B to complete a step, but there was no record of this exchange, such as email. This created inconsistency in the workflow, and it was very hard to track the order steps. Also, the system was not scalable, which created a problem for the number of orders that could be processed.
We had two problems actually. We needed a way to collect a large data set of dysgraphic writing and non-dysgraphic writing, and also speech spoken by dyslexic and non-dyslexic test subjects. So in order to do that, we had a mobile app, and we also needed to then cleanse the data. So we, myself and Rowan, built a web application to do this.
The project was improvement of customer acquisition and customer satisfactions by using artificial intelligence, most likely machine learning. But at the beginning of the project, we find that there was no data set, and to be able to work with machine learning, you need big records of data. So the scope of the project changed, and the company, they were more keen to work in creating a new business model that they had in mind, but they didn't know how to do it because it was in regards of IT services, and their industry was real estate.
First of all, I'd like to introduce my industry partner, that was the CAMS Performance Analysis in Business Intelligence. So they make softwares regarding providing solutions for the different problems for companies coming across, and identifying risk and the projects and the incidents and the strategies. So like they're working with. So the problem here was like they have everything set up as their platform, but as we are listening the buzzword that's talking about the chatbots, so they wanted to come up with an idea of developing a chatbot for their website, something very interactive with the users and the people. So it's about the company which will be using the chatbot. So they will be using it to identifying their projects, their risks, and their strategies. So this all needs to be from the user's login, so that only the person related to certain category is able to access it. So we have the security issues along with it as well.
Our business problem was to combine few of the data sets, because we had different sources from where data was coming. So combining the data set and then preparing reports and dashboards which can be user friendly. The solution was creating, as I mentioned, creating the reports, and but if you talk about the challenge was that QuickSight, the tool that I was working on, we don't have much on the internet about the tool, and was a new tool. So learning the tool and then preparing reports using that tool was a pretty good experience and learning.
So the solution was to create a piece of hardware, tech, whatever you want to like to call it, to allow people access that have the training required to be able to use the machines. So like go onto the website, go to the website, type in like if you have an account and you have the training qualifications, go to the website, then you can book a time to go into the room, and then it'll give you a 4-digit code, and then once you go to the door or wherever the keypad is, you go to the keypad, type your code in, and when you walk in, it'll open up or turn on the machines that you're allowed to use. So like the system will know what you're allowed to use and what you're not. So if you're allowed to use, say, the 3D printer and vacuum former, then it'll turn on those machines specifically for you.
The solution we came up with was a dynamic web application that handled the orders. So yeah, as Sylvie mentioned before, there were a bit of inconsistency within the workflows. So we actually analyzed the different workflows followed by the different employees, and then we gathered together the tasks into a step-by-step approach. And this approach we displayed to the users using an action plan. So the content of this action plan would dynamically change based on the order, and a few other features would be that we would automatically identify incoming emails and we would direct them to the orders. We would track the completion of each and every step, and so on. So all in all, this solution was not just an automation of the provisioning workflow, but it was also something for all the employees, that we combined all of their workflows into one structure.
To cleanse the data, we had the web application that will be used by Distech to cleanse the data, and to collect it, we had the mobile application.
So we started doing, first of all, we did the research about the market. We investigate all the needs that are in the industry here in Australia. For example, there's a big need and there's a lack of IT resources and professionals at the same time. So we identified 3 main services, and then we created the first digital prototype for this new company that is going to be part of the big company of the corporation of the group, which is called Remo. And basically what we did with the first digital prototype, we built a new website that is integrated with a CRM system that is in the cloud. So yeah, basically the whole integration was the outcome from the project and for the company.
Well, we tried different solutions. Lisa developed a chatbot on IBM's Watson platform.
So I developed an IBM Watson, and then he also tried to make the database. So he used the database as Microsoft use.
An SQL database on Azure.
So the problem we faced while doing this development was that we were not able to integrate both the things together with the IBM Watson chatbot and the backend, the SQL database together. So finally we moved on to Google Dialogflow, which is a better option. So in Google Dialogflow, you have the actions on Google platform as well as the Firebase real-time database and the Cloud Firestore as well. So we migrated from IBM Watson to Google Dialogflow and integrated all the things together, because Google Dialogflow provides a database of its own. So it was very easy to integrate and then come out with a solution.
We mainly learned how to translate the business problem into the software. So the challenge was to talk to all the employees and to identify the crucial steps that could be then translated into the software that could be agile and could adjust depending on the type of the process.
The most valuable experience for us was experiencing what a real project is like outside of university. I think it can be a little bit enclosed at uni. It's, you've got your lecturer always there to help you out and stuff, but just experiencing a real life employment was very beneficial for us.
What surprised me was how much you can overthink things and over-engineer it. We thought we'd do a lot of stuff, but we didn't get as much as complete as we thought we would. So sometimes you gotta keep it simple, stupid,
Something that actually surprised us was how frequently the users would change their minds, because in a university perspective, you get a project with a fixed scope and a fixed set of requirements, but we were surprised by how it could change in the real world. And another thing was that the projects we do at university, they're the longevity of the project is very short. So once the semester ends, we just forget about it. But it's not the case here. We actually learned as we were implementing the application that how much of an impact it would do to the business and to the workflow. So it was a really good experience.
What we learn basically is to adapt to situations. So since our expectations were different from the real situation, and then we just adapt with our skills and we just deliver according to the requirements of the customer, that is the client or the company in this case.
Time management is the best skill which we learned, as well as soft skills like coping up with the strategies like the industry partners want us to behave in, like they want us to be time punctual, and if we have a deadline to submit certain things or do certain developments, to meet with that deadline.
Me and Lockie weren't really 100% on communication, so we had to improve our skills with that a fair bit. Just like talking over text message and what's it called? Like
Slack.
Yeah, like apps to what's it called? Apps to help you organise stuff.
Project management.
That's it. Those apps and stuff like that. So we communicated a fair bit on them and always just told each other what we were doing.
The other thing we learned was to work as a development team. So we had to set up different development environments so we would not change each other's code, and we set up collaborative tools to keep track on our processes, on our issues and features, and keep the progress of them.
It was a great experience dealing with different teams in different countries as well, because the company we were with was an international company, so the development team was based in Sri Lanka, whereas the sales team was in Melbourne, so we would...
We were managing through Skype chats, so it's like we were talking to them every Tuesday. We used to have the Skype chats with the person who is based in Sri Lanka, in Colombo, and then with people here. So we used to visit the office sometimes, and rest of the things we used to do on our own from the uni.
What I learnt the most was probably my interpersonal skills and my technical skills as well. Learned a wide range of IT skills that were originally unfamiliar with me, and I've been able to apply them in a real world situation and gain invaluable work experience and skills that I'll have for life.
So thank you for today, thank you for coming today, thank you for all the presentations.
Authorised by Victorian Government, 1 Treasury Place, Melbourne.